Hello, wonderful people, brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for being here in Solomon's Temple. My name is Solomon Izang Ashams. A lot of people call me Uncle Solomon, as you can see it right there. So please feel free to call me that also. Thank you so much. I really appreciate each and every one of you for joining me every day that I come here to broadcast. I know you're seeking for truth. I'm seeking for truth myself also. And together we can continue to be motivated to continue to seek for truth, because we're a people of truth. Without knowing the truth, we would never be free. We would be financially enslaved, spiritually enslaved, socially enslaved, politically enslaved. We would be intellectually enslaved. So freedom comes from knowing the truth. And that's why I do what I do here in Solomon's Temple. If this is your first time, or you've been not a regular viewer, you're watching on YouTube or wherever, please make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. That is Solomon's Temple. Make sure you subscribe, and also please tag other people so they can join, and also make sure you click on the notification button. Now, let me roll down and see quite a lot of people here that are joining. And I love to check out some of you guys that are commenting and all that, because I believe it's part of the interaction. I don't just want to come and do stuff without really interacting with you guys. I want to hear what you're thinking and where you are actually watching from. We got Sikororo from Secunda here in South Africa. Abel is watching all the way from Qatar. Yeah. And we got Andrew from Johannesburg, that is JHP. Thank you so much for joining. Yolanda from Santon here in Johannesburg also. From Mkuve, thank you so much, Kristen, for watching. We got Cameron Betty from Norway. Wow, good to have you. Sakani from Kempton Park. Thank you guys, every one of you, for joining. Nelly is saying, greetings, Kau, which is uncle in Hausa language. Looking good. Thank you. I decided to wear one of my hats. I have quite a bit of them. I'm from northern Nigeria, so putting a hat is just sort of like part of our culture. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We got Sika from Botswana. Thank you. Chantal from Ekapa, that's Cape Town. Kanyi from Brits. Lufuno, all the way from Tohoyando in Vanda. Thank you, Rigobert from Tanzania. We have Maria from Zambia. Zambians who just lost one of their founding leaders, that is Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, recently. Thank you, Florence from Italy, Berita from Namibia, and we got Emily from Kenya, and a whole lot of other people here. There is Bongani from Richards Bay, Mabunda from the DRC. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Really appreciate each and every one of you guys. So yesterday was Father's Day. I don't know what you did with your father, or what sort of prayer you gave out to your father, or what sort of appreciation. All over social media, there are different people who are appreciating their father. Now, my father passed away this year, actually 20 years. My mom is still very much alive in the city of Jos in Nigeria. And fathers are always people that we must appreciate. So I do hope that you've appreciated your father. And whether you have a good relationship or not so good relationship with your father, it's always good to appreciate. I know some of you guys never met your father, don't know your father and all that. But wherever they are, you say that prayer, and you also have to believe that in the absence of our earthly father, our heavenly Father is always there. He will raise other people, other uncles, or the older people to help us. But he is always there. So we must be very confident that our Father is always there. And actually, my sons made me a card, right? A Father's Day card. I'm not sure you can see it. So he made me a Father's Day card, and they did this in school, and he put in quite a lot of stuff. So he said, "It's official. You are the best dad ever." And he put this lovely stuff here. And he said, "Happy Father's Day, there, Dad. I love you, from Arin." So Arin he's 6. He's turning 7 in September. So he made these beautiful cards, and then there are these patches here that actually says a bit about father. So you say happy. Okay, here's the most fascinating thing, right? This is what he wrote. I'm gonna write to you exactly what he wrote. He did this in school and brought it down to me. He said, "Happy Father's Day, Uncle Solomon. I love you, Arin." Now, my son is calling me Uncle Solomon, and he's even putting it in a card. Can you believe how that names have the whole Uncle Solomon thing have gone? Happy Father's Day, Uncle Solomon. Love you, Arin. Even my pastor growing up back in Nigeria, she sent me a message, I think 2 days ago. I said, "Good morning, Uncle Solomon." I was like, "Oh, Pastor, even you're calling me Uncle Solomon." But I guess it comes with the territory. So it has all these patches that says, "My dad likes to watch football. My dad makes me dinner." Yeah, I cook dinner for my kids. "My dad is so cool. My dad favorite food is eba. Eba, an egusi soup or okra soup is a Nigerian dish. My dad, I love my dad." So he puts in quite a bit of stuff there. So I really appreciate it. Very lovely from him. And let's keep celebrating fathers. I know some of you guys have some of your fathers like spiritual fathers, or you call them spiritual fathers. They're never really going to be your father, but you appreciate them for being older and for mentoring you, and that's important. So I had a wonderful time down in Durban with my family. It was lovely. I was going to show you some of the photos, but then I forgot. It was lovely. We had a good rest visiting my wife's parents. My kids get to spend a lot of time with their grandfather. And we enjoyed the city, but basically we enjoyed the city. Anyway, so let me cut to the chase and talk about why I'm here today. I'm here to talk about Bushiri escaped again. Bushiri escaped again. What happened? So, as we know, Bushiri was based in South Africa, where he built this shrine, this big cult called ECG, Enlightened Christian Gathering in Pretoria, where tens of thousands of people come there every week, basically. And he was now charged by the police for money laundering, fraud, and a whole lot of different charges. Fraud for about 100,000 rand. So you were looking at around $6 million, basically. So he was charged. He was arrested with his wife, and he got bailed for 200,000 rand, South African rand. His passport was confiscated. Everything. He was not allowed to travel outside of the province where he was. But boom, he now escaped. He escaped, went back home to Malawi, because that's the only place he could actually escape and not get repatriated. So he escaped, and he back in Malawi. Even when he escaped, I was the first person to actually break the news that Bushiri has escaped. You can go check it out. And people didn't believe me. It took about 24 hours later before the media and all that now sort of like picked it up, because I got like really inside info that, look, hey, this guy is gone. This guy has escaped, but now Bushiri escapes again. What happened? He's been in Malawi. They're trying to get him extradited back to South Africa to come and face the charges. He's refusing to come. He said there is just an agenda against him and blah, blah, and a whole lot of stuff, which is very untrue, which is what every criminal will do, every charlatan, every false prophet would do to be able to protect themselves and not come and face justice for the many people they victimize here financially. They took money from people. They've destroyed families. People took their pension money. People took everything that they had and invested in this pyramid scheme, this fraudulent business that he set up and being run by his ground soldiers, and they lost so much money. Now he's refusing to come back to South Africa, saying that no, the police don't like him. They're trying to cook up charges against him and all that kind of stuff, you know. But whilst he was here, also they discovered that his permanent residency, which is the permit that allows him to stay in South and live in South Africa permanently, you know, was actually fraudulent. So that is another problem in itself, something that he would have to face, that he got it fraudulently and all that. So, boom, on Sunday, the biggest Sunday newspaper in South Africa now got this, where is it now? Yeah, this got this headline. Boom, it appeared. Bushiri escapes South Africa again. That's the City Press newspaper. Now, what do you mean Bushiri escaped South Africa again? So it meant Bushiri came back into South Africa? Because right now he's currently a fugitive. He's currently on the run. If he goes into any country like Kenya or whatever, he's going to be arrested and he's not going to be sent back to Malawi. He's going to be sent to South Africa. So for him, leaving Malawi in itself is very dangerous because he knows that if he leaves Malawi and he gets arrested and gets turned back to South Africa, chances are he's not going to spend nothing less than 20 years in prison. And that's why he ran away with his wife, because he knows that, look, hey, this is just not something that he would want to do. So that's what happened this weekend, and it's like shocking. Why would Bushiri endanger his future, in quotes, by coming into South Africa when he knows that he might be arrested? And if he's arrested, he's going to be put in jail for nothing less than 20 years. It's as simple as that. This is the newspaper, obviously. All the headlines, you know, it's just everywhere. This is him here, his photo. So it's like really a full page of that, you know, and how he sneaked into South Africa and escaped. Now let me read a few of the stuff that was out there in the newspaper. He said the City Press reported that South Africa's security agencies were investigating claims that Bushiri had been in the country on 3 different occasions. So he's been in and out of South Africa, like on 3 different occasions. Why would he want to do that? Like, I don't think any right-thinking person would want to do that. Did he actually come into South Africa? Or this was just a story that is not just really legit? He goes on to say that with the most recent visit being just 2 months ago, that was in April, they said he came here early April, the authorities are trying to establish how the leader of the Enlightened Christian Gathering Church got through tight security cordon that was set up to apprehend him. You know, so the security was set up the last time he came to apprehend him here in Four Ways, which is not really far from where I live. He was there with his niece and his cousins, based on this newspaper article. Yeah, let me even read it for you. So it says an insider said when on the 3rd occasion, it says City Press learned that after discovering he had been in South Africa before the country's security agency picked up information in April that Bushiri and his wife were around. So it wasn't just him, it was him and his wife that came in. He was tracked down to Four Ways in Johannesburg, and an operation led by the Hawks, which is the police, was set up to arrest him. According to sources, the team consisted of 36 cars, but to their embarrassment, the team returned empty-handed. On the 3rd occasion, they nearly arrested him, but the agencies made the mistake of letting people drive in and out of the estate when they had cornered him. So inside the estate where he was at, they allow people to drive in and out instead of sealing the whole place, you know. An insider said when the fleet of cars arrived at the gate of the estate, the security guards refused to let him in, demanding a search warrant before they could enter. As the officials were busy negotiating with the guards, somebody alerted Bushiri of the imminent danger. Bushiri's bodyguards now requested 2 Uber cars. When the 2 Toyota Corolla sedans arrived separately, they were questioned by the officials and the drivers gave a false address for the pickup inside the complex. The drivers never mentioned the address where Bushiri was because they were given strict instructions not to. The first Uber to leave the complex had 2 bodyguards who then informed Bushiri that it was safe to sneak out because officials were not checking the cars going out of the complex. And that's how he got out. After Bushiri was out, the guards allowed law enforcement officials into the estate. When they got into the house, they found Bushiri's nephew, niece, and another lady. Now, so if this story is really true, it was more like the security agency, the policemen that were sent to search and make an arrest didn't do their job very well, because they didn't just go out there. They got a tip off that he was there. It wasn't a guesswork. So they were told, they were given the address where he was at, right? And they discovered, they actually discovered that the same way he came into the country, he ran away, was the same way he came. Remember when he ran away, a lot of people said, no, he took a flight with the president of Malawi who was here then. I said, no. From my tip, from what I have learned from my investigation, he actually used the border. He used land. He used a car to sneak across the border to escape. So it was the same thing that happened. So this is definitely some sort of an embarrassment. If there is going to be some sort of evidences that's going to come up later on, maybe a CCTV camera to show him and all that. And would I believe that Bushiri actually came into the country a few times? I think I would. Because first you have to understand that he has a lot of money, so he could do whatever he wants. He could pay people to come into the country. In as much as all the border has been sealed, but you can pay people, they can sneak you in, either legally or illegally. But he cannot come in legally because his passport in itself has been flattered in all the border posts. So that's only going to make him, that's only going to put his life in danger, and he's going to be arrested. And again, is there any chance that Bushiri actually came into the country? Yeah, I think there's a chance. Because first, you have to understand, I'm thinking if he came into the country, why would he want to come into the country and endanger his life? Is there something he left behind? Is there something that he cannot do without that is in South Africa? And that's where my thinking has been going. That's where my thought process has been going. For him to endanger his life, to come into a country with your wife where you know that if you come in here, you're going to be arrested and you're going to be put in jail for the next 20 years or more. But you still came in. Then why did he actually do that? If I was him, I would stay far, far away. Never even anything South Africa, forget about it for the rest of his life. So just maybe there was something he left in South Africa that he came for. Just maybe there's something that he needs in South Africa that he has to come in. Maybe, let me even put it deeper, maybe there's an altar that he has built. Maybe there are certain witch doctors or rituals that he has done when it comes to the territory of South Africa, when it comes to the city of Johannesburg, that he needs to devote himself there, that he needs to come and do some sort of rituals to continue to have that sort of influence, to continue to have the so-called protection that he needed. And he cannot do that in Malawi because the ritual was planted here in South Africa. The foundation was here. And you know, this kind of things, you cannot just plug it and then unplug it and then take it with you or ever. No. Some of these things operate territorially. This is the territory you were in. So it's going to operate in that territory. If you want it to operate in another different territory, so it's going to be a whole lot of long process, or it might not even work. So I think maybe, just maybe, he had to come, endanger his life just so he can prolong his life, endanger his life to come into South Africa, to do those rituals, to do those sacrifices, just so he can be able to have the protection. He can be able to evade the law. He can be able to keep attracting people now to him. Now people will keep now going to Malawi, and that's how he makes money. That's his business. So we must never dismiss the fact that he just came in here because he wanted a holiday or to visit certain people. I do not believe that. I believe he's far much more than that. Is either he came in because he has set up an altar here that is so powerful that cannot be dismantled, that he had to come and do the necessary rituals for that altar. And also remember, his cash cows is South Africa and South Africans. This is his cash cow. This nation is his cash cow. This is where he made so much money. So it's either he came in to perform sort of rituals and worship that he has set up here in this territory, or he came in for financial reasons. Obviously, some of his money has been confiscated, through the bank and all that kind of stuff. But just maybe there is some financial stuff somewhere. Maybe there's some financial stuff somewhere. Maybe there's some financial reasons. The only two reasons I can think of Bushiri endangering his life and coming into South Africa is either to perform a ritual, to worship at that altar that he has created, to do some of these things that he needed to do for him to continue to operate as a charlatan and a false prophet, or there is a financial side of things that he needed to come that no one is aware of, not even the bank. The money is not part of the system, the banking system, so you cannot trace it. You cannot follow the money like they always say. But it's somewhere, somehow. We must never dismiss it. And this person, this man here, Bushiri, you must never think that he doesn't know what he's doing. And he is someone who is so bold because of the powers that he had from the occult. He's so bold. So he has offered his life to the occult. So for him, he can do whatever. He's a young man who has gotten himself into this mess. I mean, he made a statement later on his Facebook page. He said about the city press fake news. He said, I know who is behind your stories, and I know your entire syndicate. I'm also aware of those crooked and corrupt police officers that you worked with. I denied giving you money, and you promised to make my life a living hell. You arrested me and tarnished my name, blah, 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 blah. The bottom line is, since when has Bushiri started telling us the truth? If there's anybody you mustn't believe, is Bushiri. Why should we believe Bushiri? Why should we believe his own version of what is out there? His escape. He's taking money from people. his abuse of women and girls and young girls, his false miracles, creating false miracles. We cannot just dismiss that. Why should we believe Bushiri? No, we cannot. We cannot. I cannot believe him. Somebody like that is just difficult to believe. Entirely, totally difficult to believe. So it's a case of wanting something desperately. If he indeed came into South Africa, there must be something that he needed desperately. And that thing is in South Africa. So he needed it so desperately that he actually endangered his freedom to come into South Africa because of that. And we haven't seen, the end of it, because obviously now the police, the security agents are going to begin to investigate and follow through closely to what is going on. But what is Bushiri desperately in need of that he had to sneak into South Africa? What is it? Because this is a crook we're talking about. So everything that he does, he's a pulpit criminal. Everything that he does is definitely something that is entirely not of God. So what does he need? What does he need? Maybe there are certain things that he had planted, like I said, an altar that he has created over the years. And that is the altar that he needs for him to be able to have some sort of victory. He needs to go to that altar and do some sort of sacrifice, rituals, do certain things for him to be able to have some sort of legal victories with his case that is trying to deal with now with the South African police trying to get him back in South Africa, even with the Malawian side of things. But for him to be that desperate, I'm telling you, there's something that he left in South Africa if he indeed came into the country. And I mean, it's City Press. City Press is not just going to write this and put in the cover for no reason. They vet their stories very well. They vet their stories extremely well. But let me check out your comment. I've got people that are coming back. People coming in late. We got Stenby So saying, Solomon, you have opened eyes of many people with your channel. Keep exposing these fake prophets who are busy scamming poor people. That's what they did. And that's why he ran away. He scammed poor people. Bushiri scammed a lot of them. A lot of them. Calvin is saying maybe cash is stashed. He had to get more. Yeah, maybe there's some like real hardcore money that he cash that he hid somewhere. Only him is aware of. He doesn't even want anybody because he doesn't trust people to go and do that. So that might be a reason. Rosetta said a voodoo kruko. Yeah, maybe he needed to come and reconnect to some voodoo. And Zanzi Queen says he's voodoo. He killed people for sacrifice, and his altar is in SA. There's a lot of people that passed away because of this guy. So the strong altar is here. There's no altar in Malawi. He's only been in Malawi a couple of months. But this is where the altar is. He needed to come down here to service that altar, to commune with that altar again. Emmanuel is saying, Uncle Solomon, you look great. I love the cap. What inspired the look? Today I just wanted to look like where I come from. You know, back in Jos, in the middle part of Nigeria. He remains a crook. Yeah, he is a crook. One of the #1 crooks in Africa. Zamzi Queen is saying he need his powers that he buried in South Africa. And you might think this is casual, but if you understand the operation of some of these guys, especially, you know, people like Bushiri, who are not just charlatans based on their wisdom, but they also involve in the dark world and, you know, in occult and whole sort of satanic activities. Altars are very important. Why do you think he influenced so many people in South Africa more than any other place? Why do you think South Africans are every week taking trips to Malawi to be with him? Because his altar is here. His altar is here. They built an altar. They devoted, they sacrificed and sacrificed. So the altar made them powerful. The altar attracts people to them. The altar helps them to get away and, you know, get away with so many things. The altar gives them fame and fortune, but then on the other side, you have to feed the altar. Different sort of sacrifices that you have to do is a reality. Most of these guys that you see, and TB Joshua, have altars. Why do you think TB Joshua never planted his church anywhere outside of Nigeria? Why do you think he doesn't go to other places to go speak? He went to Indonesia or Korea at one point. They saw his miracles, how fake his miracle was. TB Joshua can only perform and do wonders in Nigeria, in Lagos, in his church, because that's where the altar is. That's where the altar is. Gladzo, Uncle Saul, may God help us in all the things happening. Let's pray for all the Bushiri members for God to open their spiritual eyes in order to see the wrong Bushiri is doing. Amen. May God help them to open their eyes. There are some of you, you don't know some of these churches or ministries you go to is actually an altar. You don't want to know what was buried under that. There's one in Davidton. You don't want to know what's happening with that in Davidton. Big church in Davidton. They have an apostle. You know what I'm talking about. You don't want to know, based on my investigation that I gathered, what had happened in there. Looking at some of the comments here. Zamzi Queen is saying his voodoo is buried in South Africa, so he had to come to renew his powers now and then. I don't think that it has anything to do with money. He has his baby mamas who are taking care of that. Yeah. So Zodward says, disgrace to our corrupt police. As Erisha is saying, maybe the cult that he pledges alliance to told him he will die early if he doesn't collect the buried wherever in South Africa. Well, I mean, his lawyer came in and denied it just like him. Skumbuzo said his satanic base is in Pretoria. The rituals of protection and sacrifices should be performed there in Pretoria, his satanic stronghold. One thing I know, his days are numbered. Soon they will get him. That's true. That's true. Looking for more comments. Mulenga has a different view. He said, no, Uncle Saul, this guy might have come. That is if he came for his secret investments. You never know. Rosita is saying, the kind of power is worth the sacrifice of a firstborn. Kanye said the spiritualist called Nana did mention that Bushiri made a mistake by leaving South Africa. I do believe there is something spiritually linked to his visit. Anyway, there's quite a lot of comments here. Yeah, so I just wanted to put that out there. Just the whole news that Bushiri was in South Africa recently and he escaped. I'm going to be back again later on to talk about. There is a prophecy. Not a prophecy. Someone said he saw how angels came and took TB Joshua. Man, like angels came and basically took TB Joshua to heaven. So I'm going to do my next broadcast just in a short while now. Is just going to be around that. But thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Last time, a couple of you guys in Nigeria were asking me about a banking detail that you can help support Solomon's Temple on what we do with our operation and legal support and everything. This is the banking details for Nigeria. It's a GT Bank account, a GT Bank account. 02124342267, a GT Bank account. There's Princess Jack was asking me what's the name of the church in Davidton. I'm not gonna say it, but it starts with the O. And we're also praying and looking at going forward once a month. We would do a broadcast where it's just going to be a broadcast for prayer. So it's going to be a prayer session, for Africa, for the church in Africa, prayer session against false prophets and charlatans and fake pastors across Africa, prayer sessions for the church, for the freedom and the liberty that God wants for the church. So that's what we're going to take time to do that once a month in one of the broadcasts. We have a group. If you look at that Telegram number there, we have a group that is actually a prayer group. So if you want to join, you can join. But some of the guys from that group would be leading some of the prayers. And I would want to encourage you guys as we look forward to that, how we can all come together. You can join us. It's going to be a prayer session. It's just going to be a prayer session. And also, just prayer and worship, just intercession for Africa, for the church in Africa, for the light of God across the church in Africa, for God to open the eyes of so many blind, ignorant people who keep following some of these false prophets, for God's judgment to come upon these false prophets and charlatans, for God to keep exposing them, for God to render them totally irrelevant, for their churches, so-called churches, to begin to be empty, for their influence and their trickery, for people to begin to see that in the name of Jesus. That's what we're going to do. We're going to take time. We take a whole session, like an hour, where we're going to have certain people in the group here leading prayer, and you can join us wherever you are and put on your comments or whatever. We pray on it together. I feel the Lord telling me that we need to do that for the rest of the year, because this year God is about to do something extraordinary when it comes to the lives and some of the activities of these false prophets. The destiny of your nation is tied to your prayer life. You have a way to unleash the destiny of your nation that has been strangled and kept, by people like TB Joshua and Bushiri and all these false prophets. We must not allow them. So we'll take time to do that very, very soon. So thank you so much, guys. May God bless you, keep you, cause his face to shine upon you. May you continue to be people of truth. I'm going to be back right now in, just in a moment. I'm going to be back and I'm going to look at that whole TB Joshua, angels taking TB Joshua to heaven, which is just ridiculous. I find it very, very ridiculous.
Marriage. Of course, marriage is not your normal bump and face kind of relationship. It brings both excitement and disappointments. If you find yourself married in community of property and often delayed in your business transactions and dealings, worry no more. Because Masinya Attorneys uses the law to help you change from in community of property to out of community of property and vice versa. Call Masinya Attorneys today on 084 383 7747. We will sort you out with a high court application, and of course you get to keep your spouse. That's Masinya Attorneys on 084 383 7747.